Hi, so this is one of my favorite parts of the MCAT to, mull over and discuss the psychological and biological behavior section. So these flashcards are going to detail information from topic 8C, that's social interactions, more specifically social behavior, and even more specifically, the main topic of these cards is aggression. All right, aggression. So they were compiled to facilitate working through any passage dealing with aggression or any standalone questions dealing with aggression. So let's get to it. A blank is physical or verbal behavior that's intended to harm or destroy. A blank is physical behavior that's intended to harm or destroy. So I'll give you a moment to think about it. And while you're thinking, let me also say that I love this part of the MCAT because learning these concepts, psychological and biological aspects of behavior, makes you just a more well-informed human being. It lets you know how other people learn, how they think, why they do the things they do. And so I think more people should just study psychology in general because, I don't know, it makes the world a better place. All right? So that would be aggression, and I made a major faux pas because aggression has two G's and not one. All right? I try, but I'm not the world's greatest speller, I'll tell you that. If one identical twin has a violent temper, the other one is likely or is not likely to have it as well. So which answer choice is the best fit? And I'll have you know that this information is based on actual twin studies. So twin studies do come up quite often in the MCAT, so it's something to keep in the back of your mind. So if they're identical, the answer is likely. The other twin is likely to have like a bad temper as well. Okay. If one fraternal twin has a violent temper, the other one is likely or is not likely to have it as well. This information is also substantiated by twin studies. So in terms of twinning, what I need you to remember is that fraternal twins are dizygotic. They develop from the fertilization of two different egg cells by two different sperms. So it's just like having a 2-for-1 pregnancy, whereas monozygotic twins are identical twins. That's also a 2-for-1 pregnancy, but those twins stem from one fertilized egg, meaning that somewhere when the cleavage started to take place, the twins split into two separate entities from one zygote. Okay, and a zygote is like a fertilized egg cell. So fraternal twins come from two separate zygotes, so they're not exactly the same, although they have a lot of the same genetic material. All right, that was long enough. So the answer is not likely. So in the case of fraternal twins, if one twin has a bad temper, the other is not likely to have that same bad temper. All right. All right, so this one is interesting. Depict a sagittal slice of the brain. It might take too long to actually depict it on paper, so you can just close your eyes for a second and imagine what a sagittal slice of the brain would look like. I think I spelled sagittal wrong. It might only have like one T in it, so my bad. Yeah, I think it's only one T, so I'll give you a moment to think about that. Actually, no, I think that's right. I just sounded it out. But it's two T's, so ignore that cross out. Okay, so this is a sagittal slice of the brain. And the name sagittal comes from the fact that we have a suture or like a fracture in a naturally occurring fracture in our skull that runs between the parietal bones from the front to back direction, like in this same direction. So imagine we have a skull over this brain. So from here to here, we have like a naturally occurring like break in our skull because the skull isn't exactly uniform. It's like fused by some cartilaginous material. I don't know how to pronounce that word. So if you were to slice someone's head in half like this, you would get this sagittal slice. And this sagittal is spelt wrong. It's supposed to be two T's, okay? So just take this all in for a moment. All right, moving along. The A blank A is the brain structure that helps facilitate our fair response. So what brain structure facilitates the fair response? I'll give you a moment to think. All right, that would be this little green dot here, and you can probably slightly see everything's jumbled up. That would be the amygdala. All right, let me just write that out for you. A, me, g, da, la. So this says, this thing right here, this snippet, says when the amygdala is triggered, patients exhibit aggressive behavior. So in an experimental setting, if it were electrically stimulated, the patient might more likely than not will exhibit some type of aggressive behavior. The F blank L lobe of the brain is responsible for impulse control. The F blank L lobe of the brain. So what is it? That will be the frontal lobe of the brain, and that's really the portion of the brain that makes humans distinct from a lot of other animals who also have well-developed brains similar to ours. The frontal lobe is just responsible for higher thinking, and it's really what makes us human. We're able to make decisions, be extremely creative, and more importantly, we're able to control our impulses, our immediate desires, which is good because everything you want, you shouldn't act on it right away. Or some things you want may not, be acceptable. So that's something to think about. So your frontal lobe is really what distinguishes you, as at least brain-wise, from a lot of other highly mentally developed animals. T blank E is a hormone that triggers aggression. So T blank E, what hormone is this? So that would be testosterone. Testosterone is the hormone that triggers aggression. That's why males tend to be more aggressive than females. But females produce testosterone also, just not in the same, amount that a man or male animal would. T blank E is produced by the testes in men and the ovaries in women. So I'm sure you can guess again what this is. All right, here we have it again. So testosterone is produced in the testes in men, and for women it's produced in our ovaries, okay? We know that high or low levels of testosterone leads to aggression. And when I say high-low, I mean circulating in the bloodstream. So what would this be, high or low? All right, you probably guessed it. If you have high concentrations of testosterone circulating in your bloodstream, eventually hitting their target organs, you're going to exhibit some aggression, more likely than not. T blank E saturation can lead to irritability, assertiveness, and impulsiveness, and even frustration. So what causes this? And I think you'll be able to guess this. That's right, testosterone can lead again to irritability, assertiveness, and things like frustration, okay? Drugs that reduce testosterone levels also tend to blank aggressive tendencies. So, if a drug reduces testosterone, what effect will it have on aggressive tendencies? All right, so it would reduce the aggressive tendencies of an individual, okay? All right. Reinforcement can increase or reduce aggression. When exhibiting aggressive behavior pays off, we are more likely to exhibit it again. So what will reinforcement do to aggression? You might have guessed it, it will increase that behavior. For example, if a baby throws a temper tantrum and bangs on the wall or throws a bottle and the mom responds to it. Or if, let's say for a bully, if a bully is, tormenting someone and that person is frightened or runs away, that might make the bully feel good for some crazy reason. And even those things will increase aggressive behavior. Parents can blank aggressive behavior in the presence of their children. Parents can blank aggressive behavior in the presence of their children. Parents can model aggressive behavior in front of their children. That's why it's important for when you have children, or if you have children now, you might want to consider not arguing in front of them, because they carry this behavior or these, images with them into adulthood, more likely than not. Due to D blank N, people tend to behave more aggressively in groups than they would if they were by themselves. And this is where we gain anonymous status when we're in a group of large people. So what is this phenomenon where we gain anonymous status when we're in a large group? That would be de-individuation. And obviously this is a definition card, and this is something that you definitely want to memorize because it's more likely than not to show up in the psychology section of the MCAT. A S blank L, S blank T is a set of instructions provided by society on how to act. That would be social script, and it's good to be aware of social scripts but they also have some negative and even positive connotations. You know, there might be a social script for men, women, and even races, which might be biased. So it's just be familiar with this one because it does show up sometimes.